Hi, I'm Dr. Manimala Selvi Naikar. I'm a consultant histopathologist and statistician, and in this video I'm going to do understanding the Danish cohort study with regard to vaccines, the Delta and Omicron variants. Right. The issue arose when I wrote an open scientific letter to our Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister, and as a result of that letter, there were a few questions posed. So I thought that I will answer it according to the item number. Now, the first question posed was for item 16, where I say that, it's equally puzzling is the emergence of new data showing negative vaccine effectiveness against the Omicron variant starting a few months after the second dose. The scientific explanation for this is currently not clear. Okay, the reason I highlighted this was because now, item 6, this is the study. You can go and look up the study. The study period is November 20 to December 12. Please note the dates, right? So basically what they did was they looked at, they have got a national registry for the whole country. So they looked at people who are unvaccinated, whereas those who had completed 2 doses. And for both Omicron, which is in green, and Delta, which is in blue. And they looked at it for a period of about 5 months, right? So this is quite a long study. So they found that, as usual, as what we see elsewhere, the Delta, the vaccine efficacy against the Delta variant does decrease. Okay, you can see linearly decreasing. No surprises there. But against the Omicron variant, it goes into something known as negative vaccine efficacy, right? Now, the reason that this becomes important will be clearer as I go on. They also put this chart up. Now, the reason I could not put this chart as a graph in my letter is because the resolution of this is very poor. Nobody can read it in a letter like that. So, so this is the chart. And you can see that right from the beginning, the vaccine efficacy for Omicron is around the 35 to 55 range. Okay, for Pfizer it is 55%, and for Moderna it's about, surprisingly, it's only 36%. And over time this drops to negative 76% and to negative 39%. So across both vaccines you see this drop. And then when they give the booster, it goes back, but only to about 55%, right? The Moderna, they couldn't estimate because I don't think the Moderna has been given as much as a booster. Now, the thing that we need to note about the boosters, it was restricted to 60-year-olds, right? Older people, obviously. So that was what interested me, because the explanation by the authors was that the negative estimates was due to the fact that Omicron was spreading initially through single events, super spreading events, mainly by young vaccinated individuals. Now, the first thing that we have to understand that possible explanations are not the same as scientific reasons. When we see data, then we can forward many different reasons why the data is so. But a scientific reason is something firmer than just possible explanations, right? And this was in 60-year-olds, right? The booster in the Danish study. So, of course, as usual, I always fall back on the Israelis. So I had a look at what the Israelis were saying about the third booster. So around the same time, December 13th, the Israelis also found that the Pfizer booster, the third dose protects against Omicron. So, okay, good. Now, fast forward to December 31st, barely 20 days later. Israel approves a 4th dose for its most vulnerable, meaning those above the age, I think, of 60-65. right? So to me, this posed a few scientific questions, some of which I cannot answer because I'm not a virologist, right? So what I understand is Omicron is a new variant and it's said to be genetically different from the original and the Delta strains. Of course, this needs to be explained by a virologist. It's beyond my area of expertise. Now, the vaccine efficacy also is very low. Right from the beginning, the vaccine efficacy against Omicron is quite low compared to that against Delta, right? And it drops to negative. Now, when it drops to negative, then you have to, though there's a possible explanation, but you still need a scientific explanation and a scientific reason. And the fourth thing that troubled me was that first the Israelis said the third dose is doing fine and the fourth dose is then they said the fourth dose is needed. So that puts my item 16 in context. So to me, whatever said by the authors that this is what do you call it, something driven, this negative efficacy is driven by young vaccinated people with in super spreading events is not tenable anymore, because I think it'd be a bit unlikely that sick Israelis over the age of 65 or sick Danish over the age of 65 are going to be hanging around super spreading events and discoing and all that. So to me, at this point in time, this needs a proper scientific explanation, right? Now, I'm pretty sure I sent the letter off before seeing this in January 10th. Right? So I'm quite certain that I wasn't aware of what Pfizer was planning. So a few hours after I sent that letter off, someone alerted me to this, saying that the Pfizer CEO said an Omicron vaccine will be ready in March. So clearly, it is not. It may be singles dancing away the night and in super spreading events, but there's also a biological reason for the current vaccines to be not effective against Omicron. Maybe Omicron is just too different from the original Delta, and the original and the Delta variant for the vaccine to be effective. So I hope the context of my letter is clearer now, that we need a scientific explanation beyond just that of young vaccinated people dancing the night in super spreader events sort of explanation. Okay, so as usual, if you find any errors, please let me know. I will post my corrections as usual on Facebook and YouTube. So thank you.